going to be a pretty free-flowing, open session today. Just want to go over SQL, answer questions people may have, and then start talking about data acquisition.
Okay.
Give folks a couple more minutes to come in. Okay, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay. I think it's
Okay.
changing it.
Yeah,
Oh, she's
yeah,
offline.
yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Um, so do you have any questions, Carrie?
Uh,
Um,
no,
on the
when I got
speaker
the
said.
answer back from the homework,
Uh-huh.
no, when I got the answer back, it made sense then. Made
Say
perfect
again.
sense once I got
Okay,
when I got the answer back from you, it made sense then what I was doing wrong.
okay, gotcha. So what we're gonna do now is I put a tutorial out there um, working on join, but this time we're gonna join three tables together. At this point, it's been either querying one table or joining two tables together.
Hmm.
We're gonna go ahead and join more than two tables together. And as you'll see, the syntax is essentially the same. Um, we're just going to join the third table on one of the existing tables. Let's go ahead and look at this. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so we look at the football table and let's join this table. Again, I'm going to join on, let's look at the weapon. Yeah, this is the game table. Even if that is FB. Let's join on. And in this case, team, we're going to join on team on table A. And table B, let's do team, I'm going to do team 1 in this example. In this example, team 1 is referencing the home team. If I'm going to look at where, looking at the Bears. This brings back everything about table A, everything about the team, and then marries it up against the different games, game 1, 2, 3, and 4, that team, the Bears played in. and this the teams they played against, and you got a game date. Now, knowing that we know the game date, we're going to join these two tables. And once again, you're going to repeat this portion of the syntax whenever you want to join another table to the SQL statement. So you're going to inner join the weather table this time. The alias set is C. And join it on from the game table, the date. It's equal from the weather table. The CST is the date of the weather. You don't have to worry about the where clause in joining A to C because A is joined to B, which is joined to C. That mistake is already done. What we are going to do is make it where we're looking at specific cities from a weather standpoint. So where the city is equal to Chicago and the state is equal to Illinois. Okay, so now we have from the football team table the team information, from the football game table the game details, and then from the weather table for that specific day. Again, this is the day from the game table, and this is the day from the weather table. That's how we connected those two tables together, and then brought back the weather on that day. So what we've done now is we've joined three tables together to pull back the desired information, having keys that are set up in each table to make that relationship. Any questions about that? You can try it. Again, try it on your side and let me know if you have any questions.
Okay.
But again, you got the first join here is joining the football team table to the games table by team ID. And for purposes, if you're doing it with me, go ahead and use this team ID. If you're working along while I'm going through it.
Okay.
Hey, Javon, did you ever get connected, man? Any success connecting, Javon? I should see. Now your mic's not working.
Now my mic's not working. Hold on.
You okay?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Wait a minute. Did that really have something to do with this? Hold on.
What's that?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Huh. Okay. All right. So yeah, I noticed what you were doing as soon as I looked at the syntax. I've been looking at that a lot lately. So.
Okay. Yep. Now, have you been able to connect yet, Javon?
Not yet, but
I don't know what the problem is. Because even I'm
let me try right now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
And I don't know why the IP address changes so much. I mean, it's not like my home is picked up and moved. I don't live on wheels.
Right. And actually, Carrie, what I'm going to do is I'm going to join a fourth table in on here. So again, we have the first join. The second one, let's join the third table here. Once again, it's utilizing the syntax over and over again at this point to connect other tables to the mix. Let's look at the front table, LUSFD, on. We have two different options here because two different tables contain IDs that can connect those together. But you want to look at the B because you're connecting the game table to the game ID and the details for that game. Uh-oh. Your connection is Javon. That's right. Tammy got a question. Okay, Tammy, how do you make? All right, Tammy, let's go back. A, B, C, D. These are just aliases. So
Right.
we're just aliasing the tables A, B, C, and D.
But how do they know that A is the Bears or B is the Dolphins or?
Yep, it's down here. The only time that we signify which team is down here in the where clause. We did where team ID is equal to 1 from the team table. So
Okay. And the
that
same
was part of, yep, that was part of the, we added this other stuff. We add these other tables to it. Let's start again. I want to make sure everybody, because that's the point of this class, is to make sure everybody understands the syntax before we get into data acquisition. So let's start over. Okay. Okay, so this is the basic select statement from one table, where we're selecting from table A, and we're only looking at records where the team ID is equal to 1. So let's look at that. Okay, let's look at the team table. When that query executes, It's going to look at the table and bring back only this record because it's the only record in the table where we identified the bears. If we change this where clause to something else, I'm not sure who team 5 is, but that's the Buffalo Bills. And team 5 Buffalo Bills. So that's the first part of the where clause. What we did next is we joined one table to the next with the inner join. And we did the inner join on the games table. To complete this syntax, after you put the inner join, you put type on, and that's going to bring up any available combinations. This combination isn't straightforward, and I didn't make the connection because the game table has 2 team IDs in it. And I mean, it's team 1 and team 2, it's not team ID. So the natural connection between tables weren't made, so you got to physically make the connection. So it's team ID from table A, which is the team table, is equal to, from the game table, I'm going to use team 1, which I know is the Bears. You look at the game table, the only records I have in my database is for the Bears. And it's the home team, is team 1, and these are the teams that the Bears have played. So that's how I was able to join the team table onto the games table where it's equal to team 1. Any questions about that?
So now on the where part, is that the unique identifiers? They have to be on both tables?
Nope. The where clause is just on one table.
No, the on clause.
Yeah, because we made the connection between the tables here, where we're looking at in table A, which only has one unique record for each team. And this table, I want to bring back all records from this table that matches that team ID. So what it did was it repeated the team table information for each record in a corresponding game table that those IDs match. So I brought back each game ID. Team 1 is once again that connection is made right here. The first connection was, the first condition was set when we was looking at the team table where the ID was set to 1. So that's the very first condition. It brought back the 1 record for the Chicago Bears. But then what we did is we joined that 1 record that was from that table to 4 records in the game table where the team 1 was equal to 1.
Okay.
Had there been more game records in there, where the team record was equal to 1, signifying more games, then it would have been more records here. And this team 2, again, signifies the team that the Bears played against on that day. Any questions about it? Because, and again, it's going to get more complex as we go, but it's the principle and the concept is the same. We're joining, going to inner join on another table, and we're going to join that to this existing condition. So this existing seat select statement is what we're going to join any other tables onto. So whether it be the football table or the actual game table, that's how we're going to join more tables to this select statement. Any questions before I move along and add another table to the syntax?
No.
Good, Tammy?
Now, I don't have any questions right now.
You good? I want to make sure, because again, I move forward. I want to make sure because again, this is it right here. I mean, we're going to do some things to calculate and aggregate the data, but it's going to come from this base syntax or this base code. Everything that we do moving forward is going to be, for the purposes of this example, it's going to be based off this base code. So let's move on and add another table to the syntax. It's another inner join.
What's the difference between join and inner join? I mean, can you just join a table?
You can just join, but the inner join, because I didn't get into the other ones. There's a join, an inner join, an outer join, a left outer join. There's different types of joins that does different things. So using inner join and specifying an inner join does something very specific.
Okay.
So we're going to inner join on the weather table. And we're going to alias this table. You know what? Actually, we missed the alias up here. And it works because here I put the entire table name there. But I'm going to alias this B and make this B. Be consistent. And we're going to alias the weather table C.
I can't. I don't have a data set for the weather table. Did
Oh,
you
you don't? Oh, no, I don't. Let me get that to you. Actually, I'm going to show you guys a trick. Not a trick, but a function within the database. Let me get you, because I want you guys to participate in this. So let me get you that information. Javon, did it work? Did you get in, buddy?
Negative.
What's going on? What type of error message are you getting?
Let's see. I still have it up on my screen. Let me copy and paste it for you. Or
okay.
Let me.
I'm gonna work this out.
Yeah, unable to connect to any of the specified MySQL hosts.
And our IP address is the one that you gave me, right? The
last one I gave you. And I copy and paste the new password too.
Let me confirm, because that's not the problem. Because if it was a password, it would just tell you that that's not right. So it's more so your internet connection and the IP address. Let me just confirm all of this. Let me confirm the IP address again.
All right, let me send it to you.
Okay, so that's generally, that's the message you get when you can't make a connection. Uh, not because it hasn't connected and it is unable to verify credentials, more so it just couldn't connect.
Here it is.
I got you. Thanks.
I'm tempted to say that's what it is for today and tomorrow. Who knows what it's going to be the next day? I don't know. It's weird.
That's what I got.
And I just checked it again today, too. Now, there may be a period after the 7, the last digit. And I don't know if that's going to make a difference or not, but I've seen it with and without.
I'll try with. I'll do both ways. But generally, the way that you're giving it to me is generally how it is. So, let's see. Okay, I did it both ways. Okay, let me send you guys this file. And you can save it. When you import it, the table names, you can import it just as is. Create a new table.
Hello?
Hello? Yeah, I'm still here. I'm trying to send it.
Oh, okay.
I'll send you guys this email with this content. I'm not sharing, am I? Gary?
I just see the weather data set. You said you sent us an email?
I'm sending it now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sending it now. I'm gonna send you the weather data set that way. If you want to follow along, creating the exact same syntax as I'm creating, you can. Okay, I'm sending it out now.
Where did you get all this information from? The humidity, the dew point.
What's that
all
again?
Of this is all of this is available.
Yeah, it's all available. Yeah, it's all available. Because again, you got Chicago Data Portal. You got data.gov. So those are governmental entities that supply this information.
Right, yeah, but I didn't know they did of course, it's the weather data set. For Chicago, of course.
Yep, and we're going to go through that in a second. We'll start with data acquisition once we
get this all right.
And check. But again, the data's out there, and they, there's a lot of businesses whose business is to provide data. They did deep research in the medical field, as far as aquatically. There's data for everything, and there's organizations whose sole purpose is to find data sets, assimilate them, and put them out there for research. Which is why it's the golden opportunity for a company like this and an organization like this to understand how to assimilate these data sets to make sense of them. Main explanation is really slow up here. I'm just not getting the file to send over to you guys. Let me get back to the syntax. Okay, synthesis. Javon, did you get in, Javon? Probably not. Okay, now we're back. Okay, so we've been on the weather table. When you guys get your data set, you can join in, import, go online. But the common field between these two is within a game table, you've got the day of the game. Game table, we alias is B. We got the day. And it's equal to the weather table, which your alias is C. It's down here. And then that table, that field is called CST. Now, in the CST table, there's more than, let's look at that real fast. Because when you guys get it, you'll notice in the CST table, there's more than one day because there's more than one city-state combination. So for Michigan, Detroit, there's a 9-4. For Chicago, Illinois, which is also on here, there's a 9-4. So that being the case, what we need to do is in the where clause specify which city and state we want to join this syntax to. Because if we had not, and we, just for the fun of it, let's not specify which city and state we're interested in. Well, it worked. No, it did, because once again, this join signified the team let me think about that. Okay, so we got, now what we have here is, yep, that's what happened. So we have each record that we have now. We have, as opposed to having 4 records, we have 8 records. And theoretically, we should have 4, because prior to joining this table together, take it out of here and run this again. There's only 4 records, because there's one team and there's 4 games. So that's right, 4 records. When we joined in the weather table, you should have 4 records, but we have 8 records. And we have 8 because, again, the weather table has duplicate with 2 9-4s or 2 date fields, one in Chicago and one in Detroit. So what the query did is it brought back every corresponding record in the weather table that had the same day from the game table. So to fix this, you got to specify in the where clause. So for that weather table, you're going to look at specific city and state. Where the state is equal to Illinois, and the city is equal to Chicago. Now we have the 4 records, because we specified from this weather table. Let's go back and look at some date that the game was played on. We had a game played on August 13th. So if we go back to the weather table and look at August 13th, there's 2 records. One for Chicago. Chicago had its weather, and Detroit had its weather. And that's why we had to specify from that weather table which city and state we wanted to bring the weather back for. We made a join on the date here, but we had to make it more specific to say, okay, even though the join was made, only bring back the records where the state and city is Chicago, Illinois. So this is the 3 tables being joined together: A, B, and C. Any questions?
No.
Okay. For the fun of it. I'm going to bring back the activity from the passing table. I'm going to get that B.
So the second table is connected to the first table, right?
Yep.
Okay, can you show me the first table at the top when you get done completely? Because I only see part of it.
The first table, the team table?
Yeah, the first statement. The first statement, I mean. Above, like, is that statement? That statement isn't connected to that one, is it?
Nope, that's the one I started over. It is now. It's the same thing. I started over to build it from scratch. So now it's the same as what we got up here. Yep. And we can actually, let's go ahead and clean this up some real fast. So let's get the team name, stadium from the team table. Because again, all these tables are joined together. So now it's going to bring back all the fields that we can specify that we want to see. So team name, team stadium from the team table. From the game table, we bring back game ID, team 1, and who they played. Game day. Weather table, let's bring back the hottest temperature, the lowest, what else I have here? A lot of different weather statistics, data points. Let's go max wind and mean wind speed. Max wind gust and participation. That's it. Okay. Let's just look at these fields. Okay. Now we nailed it down. Now we're going to join one more table to the mix. Let's look at the passing table. Hey, what's that D? On. Okay. Now, once again, now they come up with some natural combinations here that we can join this table to the rest of them more. Uh-oh. So they came up with joining table A, which is the team table, to table D, which is the passing table. This will work. But I want to use table B, which is the game table, to table D, which is the passing table. And if you run this, it'll work. Only problem is it won't bring back any statistics, any data, because we didn't bring back any fields up here from that table. So the new table will bring back the passer, completion, attempt, yards, and CBA. Okay. So now what we have over here is we have the team table information, the game table information, weather for that day, and the passer statistics for that game. So it's this way: Jay Cutler played in 3 games, and his stats on those 3 games, and this is the weather for those days of those 3 games. And again, this is a very small sample set. Wind gusts, max wind gusts, mean wind gusts, mean temperatures, max temperatures. But if you assimilate this information over Jay Cutler's career as a Bear, you can start to aggregate these different numbers here by weather conditions. So let's play with one now. Let's go ahead and let me see. It really wouldn't work that well because the sample set is so small, because he only played 3 games, and we only have three different weather temperatures here. So to do a sum of any of these fields by a temperature, it only bring back that one record because those days, on those 3 days, the temperatures were the same or different. So again, the sample set is just so small that doing any type of calculation by weather at this point wouldn't have any value. But if we had years worth of data in here, we could do that. So that's how we were able to join together 4 tables. The football team table, which contains the team information. The game table, which is the game day information. The weather table, which contains the weather information for that day. And the passing table, which contains the individual quarterback passing metrics for that game. Any questions about this before we go to data acquisition? And again, if you get this, once you get this, this is the essence of what we're going to be doing. We'll bring back data. So we'll get data sets from different data sources, understanding a common connection between the two. Like in this instance, we had the games table, which had the day of the game, and we found an external data source which had the day that each weather occurrence occurred. And we added the city and state to that data set, and that's how we were able to tie this game information to the weather data set, which was a totally different external data set and a totally different table. And that's the essence or the premise of databases, bringing information together to tell a story or create some type of analysis.
I have a question.
Please.
I see in the select statement, C where it says mean wind speed, max gust. I see that one, but then underneath, under the where clause, I see state and city as C. Are those, but the whole table is interjoined, so.
Yep, I got you. What we did here is in that table that we alias to C, that's the weather table. In the weather table, remember this fact, the fact that we joined on day, the day of the game, which there's only one day that the game could have been held on. We joined that to the weather table. Now the weather table has duplicate entries of a game day because the temperature is different across these two records, the state and city. So we had to specify which record from that weather table or which city and state we want to look at the weather for.
Okay.
Which is similar to here. We specify from the team table which team, because there's 32 teams in there. We specified that we want to look at the Chicago Bears by setting this condition right here.
Okay.
Any other questions? And Tammy, you'll have more practice at this because once again, this is the essence of everything that's going to be done. So the more that you write these select statements, the more that you'll get comfortable in understanding the relationships and why you're making the connections in the way that you do. So we're gonna, just like, again, I started the class off with talking about the select statement. Each class and each SQL line, we're going to talk about the select statement because that's the essence of what we do. We may do different things with the data once we complete the select statement, like we may get an average of a temperature, or we may get the average of the number of completions. But the base select statement will be something like this: joining tables together, and then setting the conditions in which they're joined. And then join this table, and it's the condition of how we join it. And then we specify in a where clause, we make it specific due to the fact that some tables may contain other records, and that's why we need to specify, okay, from that table, this is the exact record, or these type of records are the ones that we want to pull from. And that's not done in every table. Like the football passing table, we didn't specify which other than the join, because we wanted to bring back every record from the football passing table, because ultimately we want to see every passer and their statistics on those days. So once again, the more that you do this, the more comfortable you'll become with writing a select statement. And you'll do it over and over again. But this is the essence of what you're doing. Any business that you go to right now, if they got jobs of people that understand data, this is what they do. They write select statements, and they answer questions that people want answered. Writing select statements. So if you nail this down, if you become a wizard at writing select statements, you can make a lot of money. Because if you, without the experience, stay in your industry, the industry that you're in right now, and you're a teacher, right, Tammy?
I work for DCFS. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I work for the state.
Yep. The state is an example. The state is actually a really good example, because the state, the funding to do stuff like this is very scarce in the state.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The state, non-for-profit organizations, they typically don't have the finances to do things like this, but they need it.
The state definitely need it.
Oh yeah. So if you, again, become an expert and really understand this, you can go to a state department and apply what you understand if you can exhibit to them that you understand what you're doing. Because again, this is the same here as it is there. They've got tables with lots of data, but they need people to come in and make sense of it for them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is universal. The syntax is universal. It goes everywhere. That being said, let's go ahead and look at some data acquisition, because your homework assignment is going to be acquiring data. What you're going to do is you're going to go out and get your favorite team's roster. I started that. So in the team roster table, I have my team's roster. I know who the player is, position, the age, the height, the weight, user experience, and the college that they went to. So I have my team here, and I think I added a couple more teams. Yep, team 9, where team 9 is, and team 24, Dan Bradford, that's the Rams. So I added a couple to my table already. But you guys are going to acquire your individual team's roster, and we'll go through that in a second. That's part of the homework. You're also going to acquire the weather for your major city that your team plays in. So for you, Carrie.
Yeah.
Javon, you get to get that water, get that rainy weather. Tammy, even though I got this here, you need your own, so you got to give me anything. But we're going to walk through that.
San Francisco.
Huh?
I said, I know, I'll do San Francisco. I like them too. And Seattle.
Are the Rams too?
No, I like Seattle.
Oh, Seattle. So you with Javon, huh?
Seattle and, well, I like Chicago, of course, but I'll do San Francisco, though.
Okay, that's cool. And that's even better because the more cities that we do, the larger data set becomes. Because ultimately, before this product goes out, I need to get all 32 cities for all 32 teams. So get them anyway. So go ahead and do San Francisco. That will gather. But we're gonna walk through that process tonight too. But I got Chicago's weather, and I actually got Chicago going back to 1999. Then little, it's 10 years, it's 16 years worth of data in Chicago. But for the purposes of what you guys know, I want to go back maybe 3 years to see how the different players do against other players over the last 3 years. So this is the weather data, and we got the team roster data. As far as the game day information, I've already got that, so you don't have to worry about that. I've got I'll show you guys, and I'm going to email you this so you guys can populate your databases with it. So for 2015, I've got week 1, and I've got all of the game day data points. And week 2, week 3. And actually, you guys are going to help me get the last couple years. So we're going to have the next week's assignment is going to be acquiring 3 sets of data. We're going to acquire the weather data, we're going to acquire the team roster data, and we're going to acquire some game day data files. Which, I'll show you an example. One open here. So this is what the data set looks like. Passing, it has the quarterback, and there's stuff. It has the rushing, receiving. And once again, tonight we'll go through how to get the data, but these are the data sets that are going to be part of next week's homework assignment. Any questions?
No.
Oh, okay. And I've actually, I'm sorry, 1 second. I'll set you guys off. Okay, back. I've actually put together and I don't need to. The homework assignment is going to have where to go to get information, so you don't have to write anything down right now. Because just roster. It's just simple, really. And it gives you. Okay, there you go. And you got the roster. copy, and that's it. And yeah, get yourself some type of saving convention, some type of, it's quite a bit of information. I try to keep it as well.
We can't do that in Excel?
You can paste it. No, you can't. You can, but sometimes it doesn't translate right.
Okay.
So
we
I
gotta
do it in Notepad. Yeah. Like here, I put my roster information. That's very specific. And this is what team is that? Washington Redskins. No folder for them yet. I try to keep the naming convention pretty consistent. That's it. And you got the roster for the Redskins, but now you have to modify that, because if you go back to the database in the roster table, now if we imported that as is, what we will have is all of this without the team ID. So we'll have the number, name, position, age, height, weight, experience, and college. But we will have no way of identifying which team the player plays on. Now, we can do a search on name, but you may have players with the same name. So to make these records very specific, we need to add an identifier to this record, and it's the team ID. So what I did is with Excel, I opened that roster that I just saved. Now, this is an import wizard. You can next to this. It picked up how the file is, the fields are separated, and you can look at it, and they all are separated the way we expect. Name, number, names, everything's right. Hit next. Now, this part is important. When you get to the height, because when you import, it converts height differently. It interprets it differently. Some fields can be, let me show you what I'm talking about. If I didn't hit change anything here and hit finish, the height, Excel converts it differently. You see how it's not height no more. They converted to days and different formats. So to keep this from happening, when you import, when you get here, you can tell Excel when it imports the text file how to import it or what data type to import it as. So for height, I want to say import that as a text. When it says general, it can pick whatever it wants to. You can pick date, you can pick number, but I wanted to keep it as this. So I wanted to import it as text and hit finish. And now the height stays as the height that I need to be. So now we've imported this information to Excel, and we simply add another column. But this is important because in order to put the team ID here, you must know what the team ID is for the Washington Redskins. You go back to the database, you have access to the iThinkInfo table. Actually, I'm going to provide you guys with another data set as well. When I send the homework assignment out, I'm going to give you the team table so you can have all the teams and their contact information. And that way, when you get to this point here, you can go to that table and see what the team ID is for your favorite team or the team whose roster you're importing. So in this case, I need to update this field with the team ID for the Washington Redskins, which is 32. So I'll put 32 here. And save it. You can save it as the same. You don't have to rename it anything. And then you can import it. Then we import the data set, and then you have your team roster in there. And I'll show you how we can connect the team roster information to the player who's playing. Okay. So, now we have the Washington Redskins. So you'll do that. You import your team's roster information into the database. That's step one. Step two is the weather data. And again, I put together a document outlining exactly what steps here, what to do, in addition to the online tutorial. So pretty detailed. So from the weather channel, historical weather. Initially, you got to type in what you're looking at. I already got Chicago. Let's get Denver for the Broncos. And hit. This is going to bring back today's date, but I want to change that to custom. The custom option wasn't there on the first search, so I had to do a search and then get the custom option to do another search. So, through the beginning of the year to now, get history. Once you get it, it's going to pop it out by day, January 1st down. But they got a nifty little, and most spots got this where you can hit the comma delimited, and they give you it separated the way you need it to be imported into a database. So this is perfect. So we're going to copy. Same thing, put this in Notepad. And save it away. This is Denver, Colorado. And once again, the same thing with this. This data set is great. It has the date and that all the weather, but we need to add more information to this because we need to know the state that represents. So we're going to add that similar to how we did for the roster for Denver, Colorado. Coming through October 1st. I do this way I know the last date for data contained in this file. So next time I go and get data for Denver, I know to start with October 2nd forward. Mm-hmm. Save it away. Then once again, I open it up in Excel to modify it prior to importing, because we need to add the city and state to it. This is all comma delimited, so the next not separated yet. It's all comma delimited. Once you specify that it's comma delimited, it'll recognize the comma as the field that's separating the records, and it'll do it accordingly. There's different ways that data can be delimited, but this is comma delimited. So next, and I finish, and that's it. This is done importing. I'm going to add the additional fields to specify what this is reflective of. The structure is state, and then city, and then everything else. So all right, got it saved away. Time to bring it on in. Okay, now I've run into this problem a couple times. So if you hit this, no. You want to cancel the import? Yeah. Cancel. Okay. That, some years, I think it's like 2015 to 2010, in the precipitation column, they've got T's, and I'll show you. So in this column, there has T's for some reason. I don't know what the T stands for. So I get rid of them for now. I just replace them. Wherever's a T, replace it with 0 for now. And then fixed it, save it again, and then re-import. And again, that's from 2015 to 2010 that happened. So it's likely going to happen with you guys too. You pull out a data for your city, you're going to have to update that column and replace the T's with 0. But again, the video that I put together does it step by step. Okay. Yep, and now we have the weather data for Denver, Colorado. So we can run this up against the Denver players and see how they do in different conditions, whether it's raining, whether it's snowing. So pretty important data set. So now we have the roster information. Now we have the weather information. The last thing we need to get is the team information, the game-based statistics. And for that, well, you got me. I think I'm certain I got it in this thing. Steps. That's right here. So it's, I gave you guys the URL. And this will take you to the games for the season, each game by week. So again, I've done this already for each week of this year. What I'm going to do is go back to 2014 and do the same thing. So I go to this day, and for that day, everything is set. So, copy. This is week 1 of 2014. And I do that for 16 games that week. Do that 16 times. Or 16 weeks. So 16 times 16. That's how many times you do it. But once again, it's repetitive in nature, but once it's there, it's there. That's how I look at it. And moving forward, you can do any type of analysis from that data set. I forgot again. Green Bay and Seattle. That's it. Any questions? And then once we get the roster information with the weather information, with the game day statistics, then we're going to start writing our queries.
Okay, so we got to get everything together first.
Yep. Once we get all those data sets together, we'll have the team roster. We'll know what the height, weight of each player is, which I meant to show that to you guys. The team roster table, can change the player's name. That name corresponds to, within the respective tables, the player's the passer. We know which team it is. So that's how what we do is we join this table to the roster table where the passer name and the team IDs are equal. So in the passing table, we got a team ID and a team name for Josh Freeman. In the roster table, we'll have a team ID and a team name for Mr. Freeman. No two players have got the same name, and if they do, then we may have to specify something even more specific to eliminate that duplicate. But for the most part, you got to be able to identify what player it is. So we can look at, for the last 3 years, we can see how different weather conditions may have affected a runner or a rusher. And we can also tie in the defenders that they played against and their stats on those same different environmental days. So we're gonna get pretty deep in being able to render analysis of how players play against other players in different conditions over a prolonged period of time, based off those 3 data sets. Any questions?
Well, no, not right now.
Nah, you good?
Oh, I'll have plenty of questions.
Hey, we're gonna have another SQL lounge, like over the weekend probably. So when you get the assignments, I'm gonna send them out tonight, tomorrow morning. You can start. If you have any questions, just let me know. Again, this is all data acquisition. So it's something different from what you've been doing. Take a break from that for a second. But once we get the data in there, then it's all fair game. We have everything that we need at that point to do our analysis.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is we're going to run queries. Yeah, sure, Javon. We're going to run queries that's going to aggregate data. So say for Matt Forte, we're going to run a query against like 5 years worth of data to sum up how he does against certain players and also in certain conditions. Like we look at the precipitation and say, whenever this value is over a certain percentage or a certain point, I want to see how each rusher rushes. We're going to store that aggregate information in the table. And that way, the consumer, they'll be able to run queries against that table to see how, in an upcoming game, who they should start based off that player's history against the team they're coming up against. And also, they can look at if the weather conditions are going to be, if it's going to rain, they can see how their players do in different conditions to see who they should start. So we're going to provide that information to the consumer ultimately so they can determine who they should start based off who they're playing against and based off the weather conditions and all that good stuff. But this data is going to go to fuel that product or that service. This is the base data. We have everything that we need, but we got to analyze it and summarize it and aggregate it to different levels so that the consumer doesn't have to do all of it. They can just see an average based off a certain condition. They can say, okay, I like this. I'm going to start them because of that. So.
Okay.
Cool. Any other questions? Nope.
Can I use this on FanDuel and all those other websites?
All of them. And
you need to make some money somehow.
Yeah, you can, because theoretically, it's like, for instance, if you got a player or even that, in FanDuel, you pick the players, you pick a new player each week.
Yeah.
So what you can theoretically do is once we get this stuff together, we can run it and we can put the upcoming week games in so we know who all players are playing against. And we can say, okay, which of these running backs had the best success against the team they playing historically? And that'll give you an idea of who you can start and see what fans do, what they saying they working. You can do that, but you'll have historical information to tell you, okay, based off of this, or based off this year, this team's defense sucks. Every rusher that they played against is allowed 150 yards rushing. And my this running back averages 100 yards regardless of who he's rushing against. I may want to start him. They want to pick him up. So you use the information to help you make those informed decisions.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
So every team has to be in the database to do that, right?
What'd you say again?
Every team has to be in the database, though, to do that.
Every team. But the good thing about it, from a game day standpoint, again, this is done. When I do this every week for every game. So every team is being collected right now. But I do this. That's the bulk of it, because everything else is the weather data. That's 32 cities we got to grab data for, which is pretty simple. And the roster is just 32 rosters. So that's pretty manageable. The more work is going through this part right here and getting the game day data for each game over the last 4 to 5 years. And they have it here. They've got it going back to 1999. So back to 1999, you've got every player's game day data, which would actually match up against, because I've got weather going back to 1999, ironically. But again, they've got enough information, and the more you think about it, there's not many players that's still playing that you may want to go back any further than that anyway, because,
Right.
I mean, 16 years ago, most of them, unless it's Peyton Manning maybe, but going back that far covers any active player. So at that point, that's every data point that we would theoretically need. At that point, it's a matter of just analyzing it. And the beauty about SQL is once you create a SQL statement, like if you say, I want to get the sum of this, this, and this, you can do that against all the records. So you're not going against one team and summing up, you're summing it up for everybody. So once you create a SQL statement that aggregating numbers like that, you put against all the data. So even though we may have a million records in here, that calculation is going to be performed against a million records, and we save that away somewhere. So once it's saved away, it's there. And each week you got to run that process again, but I mean, it is what it is. That's part of the job. But that's it. Any other questions? Huh? Okay.